Have you ever wondered why God allows the people closest to us to hurt us? Joseph probably wondered the same thing. He was his father's favorite son, yet his own brothers hated him. They stripped away the gift his father had made for him, threw him into a pit, and sold him as a slave. For years, Joseph watched one door close after another. But what looked like the end of his story was only the beginning of God's plan. This is the story of Joseph, a young man whose faith was tested in the pit, refined in prison, and honored in a palace. Joseph, a young man of 17, was tending the flocks with his brothers, the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. He brought their father a bad report about them, which made them angry at him. Joseph was the first son born to Jacob by his beloved wife, Rachel. By the time Joseph was born, Jacob was already an older man, and his love for the boy was obvious to everyone in the family. To show that love, Jacob made Joseph an ornate robe, a sign of his father's affection. When Joseph's brothers saw the robe, they knew exactly what it meant. Their father loved Joseph more than he loved them, and jealousy quietly began to grow. One night, Joseph had a dream. The next morning, he shared it with his brothers.
Listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, and suddenly my sheaf rose and stood upright. Your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to it. Do you want to reign over us? Will you rule us?
His brothers hated him even more because of his dream and what he had said. Not long afterward, Joseph had another dream. And once again, he told his brothers about it.
Listen, I had another dream. This time the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me.
This time, his father was there too.
What is this dream you had? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?
Joseph's brothers were jealous of him, but Jacob kept these things in mind. Sometime later, Joseph's brothers took their father's flocks to graze near Shechem.
Your brothers are grazing the flocks near Shechem. Go and see if all is well with your brothers and with the flocks, then come back and tell me.
Very well.
Joseph set out from the valley of Hebron and traveled toward Shechem. When he arrived, he couldn't find his brothers. He wandered through the fields until a man noticed him.
I'm looking for my brothers. Do you know where they're grazing their flocks?
They've moved on from here. I heard them say they're going to Dothan.
So Joseph continued to Dothan, not knowing that his brothers had already seen him coming from a distance, and they began plotting against him.
Here comes that dreamer! Let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Let's see what comes of his dreams.
Reuben heard what they were saying. He wanted to save Joseph without the others knowing.
Let's not take his life. Throw him into this cistern here in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him.
Reuben planned to return later, rescue Joseph, and take him back to his father. When Joseph finally reached his brothers, he never had the chance to speak. They grabbed him. They stripped off the ornate robe Jacob had made for him and threw him into an empty cistern. There was no water in it. Joseph looked up at the opening above him as his brothers walked away. Then they sat down to eat. As they were eating, they looked up and saw a caravan of Ishmaelite merchants coming from Gilead. Their camels were loaded with spices, balm, and myrrh, and they were on their way to Egypt. Judah looked at his brothers.
What will we gain if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites and not lay our hands on him. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood.
His brothers agreed. When the Midianite merchants came by, they pulled Joseph out of the cistern and sold him for 20 shekels of silver. The merchants took Joseph to Egypt. Sometime later, Reuben returned to the cistern. He looked inside. Joseph was gone. Reuben tore his clothes in grief and ran back to his brothers.
The boy isn't there! Where can I turn now?
The The brothers took Joseph's ornate robe, slaughtered a goat, and dipped the robe in its blood. Then they sent it to their father.
We found this. Examine it to see whether it is your son's robe. It is my son's robe! A ferocious animal has devoured him! Joseph has surely been torn to pieces!
Jacob tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned for his son for many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted.
I will continue to mourn until I join my son in the grave.
And his father wept for him. Meanwhile, the Midianite merchants arrived in Egypt and sold Joseph to Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard. Joseph arrived in Egypt, far from the home he had always known. But even as a slave in a foreign land, the Lord was with Joseph. Everything he did prospered. Potiphar noticed. He saw that the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in everything he did. Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Before long, Potiphar put Joseph in charge of his entire household. Everything he owned was placed under Joseph's care. From the day Joseph was put in charge, the Lord blessed Potiphar's household because of him. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar owned, both in the house and in the field. Potiphar trusted Joseph completely. He left everything he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, the only thing Potiphar concerned himself with was the food he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome. After some time, Potiphar's wife began to notice him. One day she approached him.
Come to bed with me.
My master has withheld nothing from me, except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?
Day after day she spoke to Joseph, but he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her. Then one day, Joseph went into the house to do his work. None of the household servants was inside.
Come to bed with me.
Potiphar's wife caught hold of his cloak. Joseph pulled away, leaving his cloak in her hand, and ran out of the house. When she realized he had escaped, she called the household servants.
Look! This Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us. He came in here to sleep with me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house.
She kept Joseph's cloak with her until her husband came home. Then she repeated the same story.
That Hebrew slave you brought us came to me to sleep with me, but as soon as I screamed for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house.
When Potiphar heard his wife's accusation, he became angry. He had Joseph arrested and put into the prison where the king's prisoners were confined. But even there, the Lord was with Joseph. Before long, the warden put Joseph in charge of all the other prisoners and made him responsible for everything that was done there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Sometime later, Pharaoh's chief cupbearer and chief baker offended their master, the king of Egypt. Pharaoh was angry with both of them and had them put in the same prison where Joseph was being held. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he attended to them. After they had been in prison for some time, both men had dreams on the same night, and each dream had its own meaning. The next morning, Joseph noticed they looked troubled.
Why do you look so sad today? We both had dreams, but no one could interpret them. Interpretations belong to God. Tell me your dreams. In my dream, I saw a vine with 3 branches. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. I took the grapes and squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and I put the cup into his hand. This is what it means. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position. But when all goes well with you, remember me and show me kindness. I was taken from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I have done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon.
When the chief baker saw that Joseph had given a favorable interpretation, he spoke.
I also had a dream. On my head were 3 baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head and impale your body on a pole. The birds will eat away your flesh.
3 days later, Pharaoh celebrated his birthday. He gave a feast for all his officials, just as Joseph had said. Pharaoh restored the chief cupbearer to his position, and he once again placed the cup into Pharaoh's hand. The chief baker, however, was executed. Everything happened exactly as God had revealed. Joseph waited. He believed the cupbearer would remember him, but he didn't. And Joseph remained in prison. 2 full years passed. Then one night, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing by the Nile when 7 healthy, well-fed cows came up out of the river and began grazing among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows came up. They were thin, ugly, and gaunt. The thin cows ate up the 7 healthy cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. He fell asleep again and had a second dream. This time, 7 heads of grain, healthy and full, were growing on a single stalk. After them came 7 thin heads of grain, scorched by the east wind. The thin heads swallowed up the healthy ones. When Pharaoh woke up the next morning, he knew the dreams meant something, but he didn't know what. He sent for all the magicians and wise men of Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but no one could explain what they meant. Then the chief cupbearer spoke.
Today I am reminded of my shortcomings. Pharaoh was once angry with his servants and put me and the chief baker in prison. One night, we each had a dream, and there was a young Hebrew there with us, a servant of the captain of the guard. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us. Everything happened exactly as he said.
Pharaoh immediately sent for Joseph. Joseph was quickly brought out of the prison. After shaving and changing his clothes, he stood before Pharaoh.
I had a dream, and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it.
I cannot do it. But God will give Pharaoh the answer he desires.
Pharaoh told Joseph both dreams. When he finished speaking, the room fell silent. Joseph already knew the answer because God had revealed it.
The dreams are the same. God has revealed to Pharaoh what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads of grain are 7 years. The 7 thin, ugly cows that came up afterward are 7 years, and so are the 7 worthless heads of grain scorched by the east wind. There will be 7 years of great abundance throughout the land of Egypt. But 7 years of famine will follow them. The famine will be so severe that the years of abundance will be forgotten. The reason the dream was given to Pharaoh in 2 forms is because the matter has been firmly decided by God, and God will do it soon.
Joseph didn't stop with the interpretation. He also gave Pharaoh wise counsel.
Let Pharaoh appoint a discerning and wise man over the land of Egypt. Store the grain under Pharaoh's authority, so there will be food in the cities. Then, when the famine comes, the land will not be ruined.
Pharaoh looked around the room. None of his advisors had spoken with such wisdom. He turned back to Joseph.
Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God? Since God has made all this known to you, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you.
Pharaoh took his signet ring from his finger and placed it on Joseph's hand. He dressed him in fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. Then he had Joseph ride in the chariot of his second-in-command. As Joseph passed through the streets, people called out before him,
Make way! Clear the road for the chariot!
At 30 years old, Joseph became governor over all the land of Egypt. The young man who had been sold as a slave now led one of the greatest nations in the world. Just as God had revealed, the next 7 years brought abundant harvests. Fields stretched as far as the eye could see, heavy with grain. Farmers gathered more than they had ever seen before. Following Pharaoh's command, Joseph collected 1/5 of the harvest during each of those years and stored it in the cities. The grain became so plentiful that it was impossible to keep accurate records. There was simply too much to measure. Before the years of famine began, Pharaoh gave Joseph Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera, priest of On, as his wife. They were married, and God blessed them with 2 sons. When their first son was born, Joseph named him Manasseh.
God has made me forget all my trouble and all my father's household.
Acknowledging that God had carried him through years of pain and had begun to heal his heart. When his second son was born, he named him Ephraim.
God has made me fruitful in the land of my suffering.
The 7 years of abundance came to an end. Then the famine began, just as Joseph had said. The crops failed. The rivers grew quiet. The fields no longer produced as they once had. Soon, the famine spread beyond Egypt into the surrounding lands. People began searching for food wherever they could find it. But in Egypt, there was grain. Because Joseph had prepared for the years of famine, the people did not go hungry. When the famine became severe, the people cried out to Pharaoh for food.
We're hungry! Please help us! Go to Joseph and do what he tells you.
As the famine spread across the region, people from many nations traveled to Egypt to buy grain. Among them was a family from Canaan, a family Joseph had not seen for many years. Back in Canaan, the famine had reached Jacob's household. One day, Jacob called his sons together.
Why do you just keep looking at each other? I've heard that there's grain in Egypt. Go there and buy some for us so that we may live and not die.
10 of Joseph's brothers set out for Egypt. But Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's younger brother. He was afraid that harm might come to him. None of them knew that the governor they were about to stand before was the brother they had sold into slavery years earlier. When they entered his presence, they bowed down before him with their faces to the ground. The moment Joseph saw them, he recognized them. The dreams he had as a young man came rushing back. His brothers, however, did not recognize him. More than 20 years had passed. The frightened 17-year-old they had sold into slavery now stood before them.
Where do you come from? From the land of Canaan to buy food. You are spies! You have come to see where our land is unprotected. No, my lord. Your servants have come to buy food. We are all the sons of one man. No! You have come to see where our land is unprotected. We were 12 brothers from the land of Canaan. The youngest is now with our father, and one is no more.
Joseph made his decision.
This is how you will be tested. You will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of your brothers to bring him. The rest of you will remain in prison.
He had them placed in custody for 3 days. On the 3rd day, he called them back.
If you are honest men, let one of your brothers stay here in prison, while the rest of you return with grain for your hungry households. Do this and you will live, for I fear God. But you must bring your youngest brother to me. Then your words will be proved true.
The brothers looked at one another. For the first time in years, they spoke openly about what they did to Joseph.
Surely we are being punished because of our brother. We saw how distressed he was when he pleaded with us for his life, but we would not listen. That's why this trouble has come on us. I told you not to sin against the boy, but you wouldn't listen. Now we must give account for his blood.
Joseph turned away from them. He could no longer hold back his emotions. He wept. After composing himself, he returned and chose Simeon. Joseph had him bound before his brother's eyes. Then he gave another instruction. His servants filled the brothers' sacks with grain. Joseph also ordered that each man's silver be secretly returned to his sack. He even made sure they were given food for the journey. The brothers loaded their donkeys and began the long trip back to Canaan. That night, one of them opened his sack to feed his donkey. He reached inside and froze. His silver was lying on top of the grain.
My silver has been returned! It's here in my sack! What is this that God has done to us?
When the brothers returned to Canaan, They told their father everything that happened in Egypt.
The man who governs the land spoke harshly to us. He treated us as though we were spies. We told him we were 12 brothers from Canaan. One brother was gone, and our youngest was still with our father. He told us to leave one brother behind, take grain home, and return with our youngest brother to prove we were telling the truth.
As they emptied their sacks, each man found his pouch of silver inside. When they and their father saw the money, they were frightened. Jacob looked at his sons with grief.
You have deprived me of my children. Joseph and Simeon are no more. And now you want to take Benjamin? Everything is against me.
Reuben stepped forward.
Put both of my sons to death if I do not bring Benjamin back to you. Entrust him to my care.
My son will not go down there with you. He is the only one left. If harm comes to him, you will bring my gray head down to the grave in sorrow.
The famine continued. Before long, all the grain they had brought from Egypt was gone. Once again, Jacob gathered his sons.
Go back and buy us a little more food. The man warned us not to come without Benjamin. If you will send Benjamin with us, we will go. But if you will not send him, we cannot go. Send the boy with me. I will guarantee his safety. If I do not bring him back to you, I will bear the blame all my life.
Jacob realized they had no other choice.
Then take some of the best products of the land as gifts. Take double the silver and take Benjamin. May God Almighty grant you mercy before the man.
The brothers loaded their donkeys once more. They took the gifts and Benjamin. When they arrived in Egypt, they stood before Joseph again. The moment Joseph saw his younger brother, the only other son of Rachel, his heart was deeply moved. Without revealing his emotions, Joseph quietly gave instructions to the steward of his house.
Take these men to my house. Prepare a meal. They are to eat with me today.
The brothers became afraid. They thought they were being taken to Joseph's house because of the silver that had been returned to their sacks. The steward reassured them that they had nothing to fear. Then he brought Simeon out to them. For the first time in many years, all 12 brothers stood together again.
How is your aged father you told me about? Is he still living? Your servant, our father, is still alive and well. Is this your youngest brother, the one you told me about? God be gracious to you, my son.
Seeing Benjamin again stirred emotions Joseph had buried for more than 20 years. Joseph hurried into a private chamber and wept. After composing himself, he washed his face and returned to continue the meal. Joseph ordered that the meal be served.
Serve the food.
Then the servants began serving food. They ate together and enjoyed the meal. The next morning, Joseph instructed his steward to fill the brothers' sacks with grain, return each man's silver, and secretly place his own silver cup inside Benjamin's sack. At daybreak, the brothers loaded their donkeys and began the journey home. The brothers had barely left the city when Joseph sent his steward after them. The steward stopped the caravan and accused them of stealing the governor's silver cup. The brothers were shocked, confident of their innocence. They agreed to let every sack be searched. The steward searched each sack. Then he opened Benjamin's sack. There, hidden among the grain, was Joseph's silver cup. The brothers were devastated. They tore their clothes in grief. Instead of leaving Benjamin behind, they all returned to Egypt with him. Then Judah stepped forward. He reminded Joseph of their aged father and the promise he had made to bring Benjamin home safely. Finally, Judah offered to take Benjamin's place. Joseph, unable to control his emotions any longer, Joseph ordered everyone else to leave the room.
I am Joseph, the brother sold into Egypt. Do not be distressed or angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. God has made me Lord of all Egypt. Go back and bring our father. You shall all live in Goshen, and I will provide for you there.
Joseph embraced Benjamin, and both brothers wept together. Then he embraced each of his brothers one by one. Years of separation, regret, and pain gave way to forgiveness. When Pharaoh heard that Joseph's family had arrived, he was pleased. He instructed Joseph to bring his father and the entire household to Egypt. Joseph gave his brothers carts and generous gifts. The brothers returned to Canaan with unbelievable news.
Joseph is alive! He is ruler of the land of Egypt! My son is still alive. I must see him before I die.
Jacob gathered his entire household and began the journey to Egypt. When Joseph heard they had arrived, he immediately traveled to Goshen to meet them. The moment father and son saw each other, they embraced and wept together after more than 20 years apart.
Since I have seen for myself that you are still alive,
Now I am ready to die.
Joseph introduced his father and some of his brothers to Pharaoh. Pharaoh welcomed them warmly and told them to settle in the best part of the land, the region of Goshen. There, Joseph cared for his father, his brothers, and their families throughout the remaining years of the famine. Many years passed, and Jacob grew old. As the end of his life drew near, he called Joseph to his side.
Promise me that you will not bury me in Egypt.
I will do as you say.
After Jacob's death, the brothers became afraid. They wondered if Joseph would finally take revenge for everything they had done to him. Instead, Joseph responded with tears.
You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done. So don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children.
Joseph continued to live in Egypt with his family. He lived to see his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. When he was 110 years old, Joseph gathered his family one last time. Joseph died at the age of 110. His body was embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt. Even in death, Joseph trusted completely in the promises of God. Joseph's story reminds us that following God does not mean life will always be easy. Sometimes, the deepest pain comes from the people we trusted the most. There will be seasons of betrayal, rejection, disappointment, and waiting. Moments when it feels like nothing is changing. But just because God seems silent doesn't mean he is absent. The same God who was with Joseph in the pit, in slavery, in prison, and in the palace, is still with his people today. Like Joseph, we can choose forgiveness over bitterness. Forgiveness doesn't erase the pain, but it frees our hearts to move forward in God's purpose. We may not understand everything God is doing in the moment, but we can trust that he is always working according to his perfect plan. No matter what season you are in, choose faith over fear. Choose forgiveness over bitterness. Trust him. Your story is not over while God is still writing it. Romans 8:28 tells us, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Joseph's story began with a dream. It passed through betrayal, slavery, and prison. But through every season, God remained faithful. The same God who kept his promises to Joseph still keeps his promises today. No matter what season you are in, trust him. Your story is not over while God is still writing it.